These are example of high profit, long tail books. Fiction book, a nonfiction book, hardcover book, a mass market paperback book. So a larger book, a smaller book, different topics, different types of books, but both long tail. Now, something that really helps as a bookseller is number one, loving books and knowing books really well. But if you are neither of those, I don't know. It's strange that you're selling books, but I guess, um, some people do it just for the money. But I would say that it really helps if you love books, know books, were a reader. That's helpful. Just like if I'm selling golf clubs and golf accessories, it really would help if I love golf and know golf and have played golf. It's not necessary, but it helps. Now, the same thing for anything, right? So if you are really into a particular type of genre, like science fiction, for example, or fantasy or horror, then it's going to really help you when you're out there looking for books, because you'll know that Carl Edward Wagner was a highly sought after author who died young. He died when he was about 48 years old, 49 years old. But he was very popular, especially this series about Cain. And if his books are signed, they can go for some nice money. I didn't know that. I was not into science fiction or fantasy, but I love books. I love to look them up. That's what I do. That's what I sell, aside from, of course, in addition to other types of media, which I love as well, music and movies and some video games. So that's all helpful, not required, but helpful. But you can learn. I don't know every book. I don't know every genre. And so by looking them up, doing research on Amazon and especially on eBay for these collectible books, it really helps. This is a first edition copy of this book. But not only that, it's also a signed copy. So this was signed, doesn't have the date when it was signed, but he died in 1994, so it was before then. And the person that actually owned this bookstore, it was a couple that ran this bookstore, but the husband, he was a big time science fiction enthusiast going back to the 70s. So he had a massive personal collection of signed books that I was able to obtain. And this is one of them. So again, though, regardless, you need to do your research. So this one sold. You absolutely need to. If you saw this on the shelf, I would look it up because of the cool cover, the cool font and colors, how it's vintage, that kind of stuff. Now, if I opened it up and it was signed, I'd say, oh, well, this could be really worth some money. But even unsigned, it could be a decent amount of money. So this one sold for $99.99 plus shipping, and this sold yesterday. So this one was listed a few years ago, and long tails can be okay. I recommend, if you're going to sell long tail books, that there's some nice profit in there. And these are the kind of books, first edition, signed copies, collectible type books. This is from 1978, I believe. So this book is 46 years old. And it was easily signed before 1994, so it was signed quite a long time ago. I looked on eBay. There's another copy of this book that was signed. That copy is actually going for less than this, but it's in the UK, and that may have had something to do with why they chose mine instead of that, or it could have been something else. Maybe the photos, maybe the condition, maybe the way it was signed. I'm not sure, but I did have this listed for a while. It doesn't sell that often, but his signed copies of some of his books do sell. There's currently about 25 or so books of his that are signed by him. So there's not a lot. That's the other thing that's really important, is if it's an author that did not sign that many books, and especially if they've already passed away, there's obviously no more going to hit. There's not going to be new signed copies hitting the market. If somebody is signing tons and tons of copies of their books, it's just not that valuable because there's too many out there. So unless there's just a massive demand for whatever reason, but the less signed copies of their books, the better from a reseller's standpoint. So be on the lookout for this particular book. The chances of finding it being signed are probably unlikely, but you never know. You never know. But this is definitely a collectible book, really cool one. So look out for that. This one is about a particular seaplane, I guess. It's Grumman Mallard, the Enduring Classic. This one is one that I purchased um, at least a year and a half, possibly 2 years ago. It was part of a bunch of books that I purchased, so I've already made my money back a long time ago. And this one sold for, I had it listed for 100, it sold for $60 plus shipping. I was glad to take the offer because it's been up for quite a while, so I'm happy to sell it. And currently on eBay, doing a little research, there's none that have sold aside from mine in the last 90 days. And there's 2 copies, and the cheapest one is $150, and then the next copy is $200, and neither of them are taking offers. Why? So if you are paying way too much money for your books to resell them, then that might be a reason, but $200, $150, unless they paid, $50 or something like that for the book, which is just crazy, and I doubt they did that. I don't understand why they're not taking offers. I am totally fine taking $60 for this. I'm going to make a nice profit, probably around 50-ish, maybe a tad bit less, off of a book that I bought several years ago that I've already sold lots and lots of other books from that purchase. And so I just want to keep it moving, get out of my inventory, make more space for new inventory. So I don't understand, why you wouldn't take offers. Basically, if you're not gonna take offers, understand that you're not gonna sell as much. But hey, to each their own. So I had it listed for 100. There was one for 150, one for 200, but they're not able to sell them quicker because they're not taking offers. And this person gave me a much lower offer than I was listed it for, but because I didn't pay very much for it, I've got lots of room there to work with to still make a nice profit. Also, yesterday I sold another book that was, I believe, a first edition. It was a fantasy or science fiction book. I believe it was fantasy, Dragon Heart or Dragon something, and that sold for $70. And I took an offer from, it was listed at 100, so $70. That was free shipping, but I still made, I think it was around 55, something like that, profit off of it. And that was one that I'd sat for a while. So these are 3 longer tail, higher profit book sales that have come in over the last couple of days. And sometimes it happens like this, right? If you have a lot of longer tail, profitable books that have been sitting for a while, sometimes they'll just come in suddenly. But often what happens is they trickle in. But the larger that inventory you have of higher profit long tails, they're going to come in pretty steadily, especially if you're pricing them to sell and not just to hope for a home run price. And also you're taking offers. Even taking offers, these books can take a while to sell. So be patient, and you also have to have a certain percentage of your inventory be books that are selling quicker so that you can keep getting that money in. And you can have books that are selling for $30+ dollars, even the $30 to $50 range, that are going to sell quickly because they're in high demand. They're turning over quicker. So that's not going to be something that's going to be super hard to find. But as I've shown you in many other videos of books that I have found in the thrift store and then sold them within, a couple days, a couple weeks, even a month, and doing that every week and finding those kind of books, you're going to be able to keep selling, books that are not necessarily for Amazon, but for eBay, and eBay in general, selling books on there is going to be, unless you're doing high volume, low profit, is generally going to be more collectible, higher profit books. At least that's what I do. I know there's lots of mega sellers out there that will sell the fast moving, low profit books even on eBay, not just on Amazon. So they want to turn through, a couple hundred books, selling a couple hundred books a day, making maybe 50 cents a buck, $2, $3 off of those books each, but it adds up. You sell 300 books in a day, you can make a couple $100 a day, whatever, but you're just having to ship a ton of books. Again, hey, everyone has their own business model. If it works for them, great. There's no problem with it. So just know your business model. If you're going to go that route and go bulk and go high velocity, lower profit, and mix in some higher profit books as well, and you can set that up for it to work, great, do it. But for me personally, I prefer having a mixture of I mean, I want all higher profit books, but again, I'm willing to take a little less profit if it will sell quicker. But a little less profit is not $1 or $2 or $3. I'm talking, I'm trying to get about $10 minimum on a book, but really going for $20 and up profit wise for eBay. Yeah, so it's been great the last couple of days selling these higher profit books. Be on the lookout for these kind of books. You know, you can go to a bookstore like this and you can look around, and this is fiction here, but even within the fiction, you know, you might be able to pull a book off and say, oh, look, let me look that up. That looks like it's more collectible, an older book. Oh, look, it's a first edition. You know, it always depends. It takes time. There's a learning curve. And the more you research, the more you buy and sell, the more you learn about what makes sense to resell. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Take care.